Mm-hmm. Hey, Windblade. Wait. What are you doing? Oh, wait. You don't need to say anything. I can tell you're concentrating. I know what you're doing. You're trying to prove to the world that your, RID update isn't better than you because she's able to stand and you have terrible heels and poor balance. You're trying to show that you can hold a pose. I get it. I do. But come on, this is a lot of work. That doesn't look comfortable and you can't even speak. You know what? How about you take a break, we set everything right here, and just to make you feel better, just to give you, your fair shot and some benefit of the doubt, let's take a look at you in the latest GotBot True review. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot, and today I'm going back a little bit and I'm taking a look at the Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Windblade. Now I know that we just recently got a nice updated RID version of this character. This was the first one that came out a few years ago, and it had a lot of high hopes because it was voted on in fan polls. It's considered the first fan-made or fan-designed Transformer, and you know what? In her own way, she does. She looks beautiful, but she certainly had her fiddly, finicky problems. Now, she can hold a pose. You just saw that there at the beginning, but I'm going to tell you, it takes a lot of work to do that. She is not super sturdy. Now, mind you, she is standing here quite well, quite sturdy. I can tap down and she's not falling over. I've thought about getting the RID version. I'm on the fence. I love the look of it. I really do. I love the character in the show. But I don't know if I like the look of that as well as I like the look of this. And even in this case, I've been torn between this version and the Transformers Legends version. I feel like they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I kind of like some of the placement of the red and black better on this version. I don't really like the red on the wings. I kind of like the all black wings. I love the black motif in plane mode. But overall, for what we think of when we think of Windblade, I feel like the thighs should probably be black and there should be a bit of red on the wings. Her face paint is okay. It's not fantastic. She's certainly missing some apps there. Overall, I'm going to give her paint apps about a 7.5. Maybe an 8 if you really want to push it. It's no mistaking that it's Windblade, but for what we now know the character to be, she's a little bit off. But still, do I necessarily want to pay a higher premium to get that import? Well, obviously that's up to you. I'm cool with this version of her, unless I want to get the RID one. We'll see. Let's see how this review goes, and maybe I'll decide from there. So she's starting off a little bit better in the middle of the road because she does look nice. I do love the VTOLs in her wings. I think that looks fantastic. Posability, playability. Well, where do I begin with that? I guess I'll say this: in plane mode, she makes a fine plane. The VTOLs can move, or those turbine engines. I assume that they're VTOL engines. She can store her sword or scabbard, whatever, underneath. It's not the best storage, but it's okay. It's better than having stored on top of the plane, I think. In this mode, well, the head can look down and look up. It can go left and right a little bit, but it hits her collar, so that sort of affects it a bit. The entire shoulder piece, including the wing, can go all the way around. The wings can fold forward and back. These little pieces, they can fold The shoulders can move without taking the whole wing. The shoulders go out. There's a nice 90 degree elbow bend, a bicep swivel. There's even wrist articulation on her, even though it's pretty tight. No waist. Oh yeah, waist, of course, yeah. There's a waist, so that's nice. Legs forward, legs way back, and yeah, if you position them correctly, she can do full splits just like Prowl. Knee, nice 90 degree knee bend, and unfortunately her heel can move, and that's where the weakness really kind of comes in with her. You can take this head crest piece out, you gotta wiggle it up. It is noted for being kind of fragile, and mine is, you gotta wiggle it out, sorry, not up. Out, not up. You gotta take it, you gotta pull it out, don't pull it up because you'll break it. It's small, I believe it's painted, you know, clear plastic. She can hold it in her hand like that. I will probably never ever do that. I'll just leave it, you know, in her here. It kind of goes with her, you know, kabuki mask. I think it's kabuki. I think it's inspired by kabuki mask. And if I can put this back in the back of her head, there's a little port way down here. Having that there, I think, just kind of completes the look of the like kabuki mask type of motif that they were going for. Not sure what I said. The scabbard and the sword. The sword is great. The new one that comes with the RID Windblade is all black. I kind of like this version better, to be honest with you. That sort of Energon-y look to it. It fits in the, you know, the sword fits in the, whatever this is, sheath pretty good. There are tabs on each side of the sheath, and they can go into slots on the hips. I think a lot of people probably know that by now. If you didn't, well, now you do. It doesn't hold the tightest, never did. It's okay, it's good for posing. It's not the best for playing. And it can also go on her back. Just under the cockpit section, on the nose cone, there are a couple of little slots. See if I can get the wing out of the way to show you. A couple little slots around right here, basically where my finger is. And this can slide onto that as well. So I'll try and show that now. So if you don't want it on her hip, she can, if I can find the slot, directly under the cockpit. It's kind of small, and boom, there you go. It's on the back there, right in by the cockpit. I like that. I didn't know that all along. I was just fiddling with her one day and discovered it, and maybe it's been mentioned by 100 people, but I don't remember anybody really mentioning it. So I thought that I would, for the sake of this review. Because she doesn't stand the easiest, that hurts her score. I mean, she has a lot of posability, and she actually has a lot of playability, but because of a couple of weaknesses, it's going to hurt her. She should have a 9.5, honestly. Because of the issues with standing her, that's going to drop her to about a 6. She gets really disappointing, and it helps if you kind of split the leg a little bit like this. But again, you know, if you split the leg like that, it helps. But again, you shouldn't have to split the leg like that. So the next part, the last part, will be transformation. But before we get into transformation, here she is next to a modern day deluxe. There she is with the Titans Returns Blur, who I looked at not that long ago. In fact, I had a look at him and his mod in episode 138, so we'll take him out of it, and we'll get into Windblade. I'm going to tell you now, she has a finicky transformation. Kids are not going to like it. For kids, I think her transformation is a 2. They will not be able to do it because the tabs and whatnot are just too small. If you are delicate with her, if you make sure everything is just perfect, she works nicely, but it can be kind of frustrating. Like I said, it's not for kids. I'll reserve my score until we get to the end of this, because sometimes it goes well for me, sometimes it don't. And depending on if I get frustrated, it could affect her score. Let's see what happens, folks. We open her up first at the upper body, and we kind of pull those arms out to the side. Let me bring this back a bit. Hopefully I can keep all this on screen. We bring the arms down to the side and we flip her head into the body cavity just like that, and we close it up and we can bring the nose cone down over. That's the easy part. That is the easy part. That is largely the only easy part. Next, you want to leave these arms free flowing for now. We'll kind of deal with them last. Take the waist and swivel it around. You want to open up the front of the shin and bring it right up over the thigh. Open up the front of the shin and bring it right up over the thigh. You really do, for her transformation to work, and this is why I said we're going to do the arms last. For her transformation really to work, you have to make sure that the waist is kind of perfectly squared off underneath. You have to make sure that the thighs are in there pretty much perfect, and you got to make sure that the whole center mass is pretty much perfect. That's difficult to do. Next, we turn the whole heel piece around so that the fin that's right here ends up facing the top of the plane. Take the whole thing and turn it around. Put up the heel piece, put up the heel piece. And you tab the fin pieces together. They're not too bad to tab together. They're kind of secure, sorta, kind of. They're not fantastically secure, but they're okay. Now, hopefully, if I've done well, the center of the body should be pretty squared up and straight. I hope. Next, you want to come to the wings and open out that little piece and open out this little piece. The idea is going to be that there's a little tab back here on the lower part of this wing and a little tab back here on the lower part of this wing that goes into a little black slot kind of next to her foot right here on the back of the leg section. Then this little section here and this little section here tabs in basically next to the nose of the cockpit, kind of just behind it, back right here. It is challenging to do. Very challenging to do, especially because these pieces up here are soft rubbery plastic and don't necessarily like to be manipulated very well at all. So we're going to bring that forward all the way now, and we're going to bring this one forward, or hopefully forward, all the way. I find that this side tabs in easier than this side, but that's just me. So, we bring down, I guess I should show this too. When we bring down the arms, this hinge right here, this shoulder hinge that the arm is attached to, needs to come in as close as it can to the body, pretty much down straight, as if it was a part of the body. And that comes down and they are both in. You can see that the pins pinning the shoulders in are pretty much perfectly straight, and that's the way that they need to be, or at least I hope you can see that. Next, I find that the best thing to do is tab in the back first, and I'm sorry, but I've got to be able to see this to do it. Otherwise, this transformation is just never going to work. Okay, so you can see where they're tabbed into. There's a little tab just on the bottom. It goes into a little slot that's in this black section back here. You're going to want to try and straighten these wings up kind of as best as you can along the body again. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. I'm not going to pretend that it is anything else. Next we come to these front sections here, here, and here. These two. Next to the cockpit there's a little black piece that protrudes out and has a little hole up and underneath. You have to try and angle this up in that little hole underneath and angle this up in the little hole underneath. If you are successful, then they'll pretty much hold like that. And to my shock, they went in okay. Last but not least, the arms come down and the hands go over a couple of little tabs just right here. Basically they're handles for the hands to hang out on the side of the body of the plane. And in the end, boom, there you go, Windblade in her plane mode. I think she makes a pretty cool looking plane, to be honest with you. I personally, you can do what you like, but I personally enjoy turning the VTOLs kind of this way. You know, to each their own, obviously. The sword, there is, up here there is a peg, and kind of right in the center of her body right here there is a 5mm port, and all things being equal, the sword should go into the port. There, just like that. In fact, I'll even hold her by that. In the end, this is what you get for Windblade. I think it's a cool looking plane. That being said, I'll fix her legs there. That being said, she is fiddly, she is finicky. If you want a quick, easy transformation, I would suggest the RID one. From what I understand, it is really similar to the RID Starscream, and that thing is fun, quick, and easy, to be honest with you. If you want the one I think that has the better aesthetic, the one that looks to be in more of that sort of classic style, then this is the way to go. But know what you're getting into. Her transformation, for me overall, it's not the most fun, but it's not the worst. It's probably about a 7, a 6.5, a 7, something like that. I would have loved for the wings to work a little bit better. I would have loved for a couple of the tabs to work a little bit better. Overall, this version of Windblade is probably about, she's probably about a 6.5, pushing a 7 if you really like the character. Of course, that is only my opinion, and yours may be completely different, and that's cool too. We're all entitled to, you know, do our own thoughts on this stuff. I think the RID one would probably be somewhere around an 8.5. I think probably around an 8.5. I think it is, you know, for just being a fun toy, I think it's better than this. But for my collection and for liking that sort of classic aesthetic, I think this one fits better. Anyway, that's it. That clues up her. I appreciate you guys stopping by and giving me a little bit of your time. Her overall mark, like I said, 6.5, pushing a 7 maybe. What else can I say? Thanks for dropping by, and I look forward to the next time that you and I have a visit right here inside the videos.